Hello, welcome back to my channel, Hasty Books. I'm Camila, and today I just want to show you some of the books I've bought in January. And if you follow my channel, you'll know that I've made some goals for 2022. So I made a list of kind of reading goals, and I think it was a bit overambitious, but anyway, let's not dwell on that. One of my goals was to reduce my physical TBR, and I think I could have managed that by reading about, I want to say 3 books a month from my shelf. And I was kind of on that track with January, and then I bought 11 books. There was a huge sale at a local shop, and I just couldn't stop myself. It was like 50% off, and then there was an additional 10% if you had the members card. And I had a gift card. So yeah, I have 11 new, but I will talk about 10. So one of them was kind of like a bit of a joke gift from my husband, but anyway. So I will show you 10 of the books that I've bought. I think half of them are non-fiction and half are fiction. I would love to know if you've read them, and also I will ask everyone to vote for which book I should start with in March. So I want to tackle one of them in the next month, because I'm very aware of the tendency to buy and not read. So I thought voting and letting people, participate might help me properly get into it. So for full disclosure, these 10 books costed me maybe about £55 total. So I think that's not too bad. It's about about $5.50 a book. It's less than buying a paperback, and they're all hardback. I think the discount was on hardbacks only, and they're all very new, so I thought I'd go with it and try a few titles, and there's a couple things I was excited to kind of get to, so I bought them. Alright, let's get started. So the first one was, it's here, beautiful. Velvet Was a Night by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. I read her book Mexican Gothic in 2020, really enjoyed it, really enjoyed her writing. I've heard of this book, I've seen it was on a couple of people's best of 2021 list, so I thought, am I going wrong? Probably not. So for those who don't know, this is based in the 1970s in Mexico City, when there was student protest and political unrest. It seems I will follow Maite as she finds escape from her humdrum life in the stories of passion and danger filling the latest issue of Secret Romance. She's deeply envious of her neighbor Leonora, a beautiful art student who lives the life of excitement and intrigue Maite craves. So when she disappears under suspicious circumstances, Maite jumps at the chance to uncover Leonora's secrets. I think that this is like a noir, in the vein of noir movies, so I'm very excited for this. Next is Learwife by J.R. Thorp. I saw that one and I think I'd heard about it, so I decided to just get it. It reimagines the story of the wife of King Lear from the Shakespearean play, giving unforgettable voice to a woman whose absence has been tantalizing mystery. Learwife is a breathtaking novel of lost renewal and how history bleeds into the present. Word has come, Caraband King Lear is dead, driven mad and betrayed, his 3 daughters too, broken in battle. But someone has survived, Lear's queen. Exiled to a nunnery years ago, written out of history, her name forgotten. Now she can tell her story. So I thought this sounded so good, and I'm really excited for it. Next is Cwen by Albinia. This is it's not in the same vein as Learwife, but this is also like a feminist narrative for fiction. I got the cover really was striking, so I clicked on it just to learn a bit more about it, because yes, I actually went to the whole list of books that were on sale and picked the one that I thought were sounding really cool, and then I added some to my basket. So this kind of made the list of intriguing, and then I read about it and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I have to have it. I've seen some reviews and they seem divided, so history will tell if I find it good or not, but I thought I'd try it. It says an archipelago off the east coast of Britain comes under female rule, using resources traditionally the preserve of man, inspired by ancient British history of islands where women ran society and controlled the climate. The women quietly take charge of islands' education system, businesses, and civic institutions. But a revolution by stealth is not enough for Cwen. She has been here longer than the civilization she has come back to haunt. Her name has ancient roots, reaching down into the earth and halfway around the world. The clouds are her children, and the waves and the islands she inhabits have always belonged to women. Now she has returned to hold them to account. Following in Cwen's wake, young climate activists stage a rebellion against the patriarchy. A grandmother bequeaths her son's inheritance to a feminist foundation, and a public inquiry is launched into the archipelago's outrageous mutiny. This remarkable novel is a portrait of a world on the cusp of change. Exploring female power and potential both to shelter and to harm, it reaches back into Britain's matriarchal past to ask how radical we might be if given the chance. So yeah, I just thought it sounded really cool and really up my alley. If you follow the channel, you know I'm loving like a kind of feminist narrative, strong female protagonist. Love all that. And I just thought it was so beautiful. And it's beautiful edge. So yeah. I'm quite excited for this as well. I'm excited for all of these. Obviously, I didn't buy them for no reason. Then the last fiction is, I think there's only 4 after all, is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. TJ Klune's been kind of all over the booktube videos that I've watched. Obviously starting with The House on the Cerulean Sea. Was it by? Anyway, that book that everyone's read and everyone's liked. That one wasn't on sale, so I didn't buy it. But I don't think they're related. So I bought this one, and I'm always intrigued by stories about death, because it says his death was the beginning. Let's see what it says. Welcome to Charon's Crossing. The tea's hot, the scones are fresh, and the dead are just passing through. When the Reaper comes to collect Wallace from his own sparsely attended funeral, Wallace is outraged, but he begins to suspect she's right, and he is in fact dead. Then, when Hugo, owner of a most peculiar tea shop, promises to help him cross over, Wallace reluctantly accepts the truth. Yet even in death, he refuses to abandon his life, even though he spent all of it working. I've seen loads of booktubers talk about this, and it sounded really intriguing, and I've not tried Klune's writing yet, so I'm very keen to try it with this one. Alright, let's get on to the 6 nonfiction that I bought. So let's start with actually the smallest one. It was so small, actually. I didn't realize quite how tiny this book was. It's Misfits, a personal manifesto by Michaela Coel. If you're in Britain, you probably know of Coel. She's the creator behind Chewing Gum and I May Destroy You. I've started Chewing Gum, which is kind of fine, yeah. I've heard amazing things about I May Destroy You, but I don't know if I have this yet in me, because it is about sexual assault and trauma, and I didn't know yet, but I heard it's really beautifully done, so I need to get to it at some point. But I'm really excited to kind of read more about Coel, and so I bought this one, which I heard good things about. It's really short, obviously. I didn't realize it was this small. It's 100 pages, but obviously small pages, and then some stuff like that. It says, Michaela Coel's McTaggart lecture touched a lot of people with her striking revelations about race, class, and gender, but in the end, the person most impacted was Coel herself. Building on this speech, Misfits immerses readers in her deeply personal vision through powerful allegory and anecdotes, from her East London upbringing to her discovery of theatre and love of storytelling. And yes, I'm keen to read this. I will try to fit it in soon regardless, because it's so short. I think I'll be able to read it in one sitting. Another creator that I find very inspiring and I kind of want to read more by her and everything is Bernardine Evaristo. So this is her most recent book, I've seen nonfiction. It's called Manifesto on Never Giving Up. And I'd seen it like on Twitter advertised, and I was kind of very keen, and I saw it was on sale, so I just bought it. I don't know, I just find it very intriguing how she goes about creating her novels and writing, and I think she's a creative writing lecturer at university as well in England. It says Manifesto is her intimate and fearless account of how she did it. From her childhood steeped in racism from neighbors, priests, and even some white members of her own family, to discovering the arts through her local youth theatre, from stuffing her belongings into bin bags, always on the move between temporary homes, to explore many romantic partners, both toxic and loving, male and female, and eventually finding her soulmate. From setting up Britain's first theatre company for Black women in the 80s to growing into a trailblazing writer, theatre maker, teacher, mentor, and activist we see today. Bernardine charts her rebellion against the mainstream and her lifelong commitment to community and creativity. Yeah, I think this is going to be well written and also really interesting. So next I bought Hope Not Fear by Hassan Akkad. I saw this one and it kind of didn't tell me much, but then I was kind of in Goodreads at the same time and I saw that I'd put this in my to read. So I was like, oh, okay. And I saw it was on sale, so I was like, okay, well, I'll buy it. I don't know where I came upon it, like if I saw it on BookTube, if I maybe heard about this writer from like a podcast on Twitter. But anyway, it was on my TBR, and it sounded really interesting because it says finding my way from refugee to filmmaker to NHS hospital cleaner. And again, if you followed me a little bit, you know a little bit my background. I'm really interested in refugee stories, as some of my family members are refugees, and also just I think in the current state of Britain, I think these stories are also great. It says he was from the Syrian civil war through the refugee crisis and the coronavirus pandemic. Hassan Akkad has a personal connection to the biggest news stories and humanitarian catastrophes of our times. Through it all, hope not fear charts a path of compassion, bravery, and empathy, often found in the most unlikely of places. In this book, Hassan traces his journey from the jasmine-scented street of Damascus to London, where, when coronavirus hit, he wanted to do something, anything to help his adopted country through the crisis. I think it's going to be a great nonfiction for 2022. Then I got Borges and Me by Parini. I was kind of intrigued by this because I'm not sure if this is fiction or like non-fiction, or if it's like a romanticized or kind of like fictionalized memoir. I'm not sure. And even in the entrance, at the beginning here, it says, in this evocative work of what the author in his afterwards calls autofiction, or a kind of novelized memoir. Instead of telling you, I will read this. Parini takes us back 50 years when he fled the US for Scotland. He was in frantic flight from the Vietnam War and desperately in search of his adult life. There, through unlikely circumstances, he met famed Argentinian author Jorge Luis Borges. He was in his 70s, blind and frail. Parini was asked to look after him while his translator was unexpectedly called away. When Burgess heard that Parini owned a 1957 Morris Minor, he declared a long-held wish to visit the Scottish Highlands, where he hoped to meet a man in Inverness who was interested in Anglo-Saxon riddles. As they travelled, the charmingly garrulous Borges took Parini on a grand tour of Western literature and ideas, while promising to teach him about love and poetry. I was just sold, because I think this is going to be, well, first, it's Scotland. Look at the little Highland cow. It's Scotland, it's obviously a kind of road trip story, it's Borges, it's Western literature, it's like so many things that I thought sounded so fascinating and so intriguing to myself. So yeah, I was kind of really pleased to see this and yeah, get it. The penultimate book that I bought is I Belong Here, A Journey Along the Backbone of Britain by Anita Sethi. I've been wanting to read this since I heard about this book. I love books that have something to do with belonging, with identity. As the daughter of a refugee, as someone who's an immigrant, I feel very connected to those kind of stories because I'm always kind of searching for that as well. So I think, yeah, so even just the title really got me. So I think that this was fueled first by hate crime, which have been on the rise since Brexit. Yay! So let's see. She says, it says here, Anita Sethi was on a journey through northern England when she became the victim of a race hate crime. The crime was a vicious attack on her right to exist in a place on account of her race. After the event, Anita experienced panic attacks and anxiety. A crushing sense of claustrophobia made her long for wide open spaces, to breathe deeply in the great outdoors. She was intent on not letting her experience stop her traveling freely and without fear. The Pennines called to Anita with a magnetic force, although a racist had told her to leave. She felt drawn to further explore the area she regards as her home, to immerse herself deeply in place. Anita's journey through the natural landscapes of the North is one of reclamation, a way of saying that this is her land too, and she belongs in the UK as a brown woman as much as a white man does. Her journey transforms what began as an ugly experience of hate into one offering hope and finding beauty after brutality. Anita transformed her personal experience into one of universal resonance, offering a call to action. To keep walking onwards, every footstep taken is an act of persistence. Every word written against the rising tide of hate speech, such as this book, is an act of resistance. So yeah, I think I did see it in the library, but I was keen to own it. And finally, the last book that I bought is actually the largest one and the most expensive. It was actually really pricey. but with all the discounts, it was kind of like affordable, so I bought it. It's 1000 Years of Joys and Sorrows by Weiwei. This is his kind of memoir. I've followed a bit of his career. I'm very interested by his art installations especially, and the way that he subverts expectations, especially when it comes to arts. So I was kind of really interested in this, and I just love the cover. I just think it's so beautiful, and I just got it. I didn't even look more into it, just got it. If you don't know about Ai Weiwei, he's an artist born and raised in China, and he's kind of been known across the world for his art installation, for his photography, for his different kind of art pieces, and also like always with some activism as well. We saw one of his installations, I believe it was in Denmark, and it was made of a life vest from boats, and it was kind of about refugees. And I, yeah, been really interested in his career in art. So this is exciting. It looks quite large, but it's not, it's written quite large as well. Yeah, there's some photos as well and drawings. So yeah. It says Ai Weiwei's sculptures and installations have been viewed by millions around the globe, and his architectural achievements include helping to design the iconic Bird's Nest Olympic Stadium in Beijing. His political activism has long made him a target of the Chinese authorities, which culminated in months of secret detention without charge in 2011. Here, for the first time, Ai Weiwei explores the origin of his exceptional creativity and passionate political beliefs through his life story and that of his fathers, whose creativity was stifled. And also, I think this is worth saying as well, he seemed to not have written it in English, and it was translated by Alan H. Barr. So I just want to mention that as well. And yeah, I'm very excited for this. This may be one that I don't read in one shot, but I'm keen to learn more about his journey and his father's journey in China. And then I think he left to go to America, and there he met like loads of like really influential artists, and he has obviously since become one himself. So really intriguing and keen to get into this. So these were the 10 books that I've bought in January that I'm kind of very excited by. I obviously can't get to all of them immediately, but I would love for you to vote for which one you think I should read in March, and I will add it to my TBR for next month. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I see you back. Bye!